Good morning, my friends. How are you?
Morning, everybody.
Yo.
How is everybody?
Man, how are you?
I don't know. Ask me when we're done.
Okay.
So speaking of which,
Yeah.
thank you guys for the walk yesterday.
Mhm.
It was good.
Yeah.
Got a good set of pictures out of it as well, which made me
Yeah.
laugh really hard.
You seem to be struggling a bit at the end there, but
Yeah, I felt really bad afterwards. Like as soon as we stopped and I got home, I felt really out of it. And
no.
I think I stayed up for a little while. Cassandra was like, "You should lay down. You're like not making any sense when you're talking."
oh,
And I was like, "Okay." I laid down and slept for a couple hours. Actually, felt a little better when I got up, but it is what it is.
yeah.
Forgot what the fuck I was saying.
All good.
Yeah. So I don't really have a lot of focus right now. So I have
Yeah, we'll just play by
our last week's thing that we were kind of fiddling with. I've been adding some stuff as it goes around. As
it goes.
as it goes. Thank you. So this is kind of an idea file. I'm throwing some things together in the 3 primary games that I'm running.
Mhm.
Sometimes I put titles on things because it helps me like formulate an idea. Like if I put something like Peace Cells, I didn't put Who's Buying as the kind of theme for attending a Beholder Peace Conference. It kind of gives me a vibe of what that I want out of that.
Mhm.
I had a weird thing this morning when I first woke up, and I thought of this: the Ouroboros entanglement being like a trap, and Ouroboros being a snake eating its own tail, where it's like a time trap, and you're stuck within a loop.
Oh.
So I ran a thing. It's been a while ago during an Extra Life where the players woke up and pulled themselves out of graves because they were all dead. And I want this to kind of start at the very beginning, and the PCs die, and then they wake up, and it's 4 hours previously, and they realize that this has been happening over and over again.
Oh.
So it's kind of up to them to figure out how to get out of this trap that's been laid for them.
Yeah.
1 second. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll give you a topic. Why Wonder Man is better than Martian Manhunter?
Is he?
Yeah, I don't know if I'd agree.
Yeah.
I like both characters for very different reasons.
Yeah.
And I've actually, I would say, I think it was him. One of the better things that Bendis did on Avengers was, I think it was him, was making Wonder Man a pacifist.
That was cool how like he is so OP, and then to make him be like, nah, this is I don't want any part of this. That's
my problems.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And just his tortured history is really interesting there too. Like,
yeah,
people have been trying to feel like to get like a Wonder Man movie going for like decades. It feels like
series. So
they're working on the Disney Plus series right now.
what?
I remember died on set. So, yeah,
Oh,
some sort of scaffolding or something that
oh, damn.
collapsed. Yeah,
I think the difference between the two is there has not been but maybe 2 writers who have done a good job with John Jones. Whereas I think
I've read some good stuff. I can't remember. Was it Venditti? There was like a 12-issue series not too long ago that was actually really enjoyable. But I haven't read most of the Ostrander stuff, but I've been curious about it because I like Ostrander. But
I like Ostrander as well. I think though that John Jones, by and large, doesn't have a ton of personality outside the JLI stuff.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
That's unfair.
He's alien to be alien. Whereas Simon Williams has a reason to be Wonder Man even as a villain because Tony Stark fucked him over real bad.
Yeah.
And like his whole thing becoming a supervillain was like, oh, I want to get back at Tony Stark, so I'm going to get back at Iron Man.
Yeah.
And then realize like, oh, I'm a bad guy. Oh, this isn't good. Like I did not sign on to be a bad guy.
Yeah.
And his whole thing with Wanda and Vision and that whole.
I like that. That was compelling to me. I dig that kind of stuff.
Very much so. I feel bad that the MCU will miss all that.
Yeah.
They just are going to not have that.
That's the kind of tragic thing is like there's so much that informs that character from specifically that dynamic between those three that it's like, that's going to be a shame to lose out on all of that.
The MCU is just going to distill him down into movie star guy.
Yeah.
I don't think that's, I think there's legs there.
Oh, yeah. I know it's an interesting concept. It's the same concept that DC tried to use with Blue Devil, and it's very compelling.
Blue Devil, yeah, dude.
Blue Devil's great, too. I find Blue
Devil. I love Blue Devil.
That costume is amazing.
Yeah.
But I think with Simon Williams, also you have his friendship with Beast.
Yes.
Which is, I think, one of the more relatable things in all of comics. Super Spike. And they're bringing that back in X-Men because, they brought back
Spike.
Defenders Beast, I think is what they're referring to him as.
Oh, okay. I saw.
Oh, yeah, like, isn't like old school Beast like back or whatever, something like that?
Yeah, like, no, Beast is a bad guy now. He's a straight.
Yeah, isn't like the Beast we think we've known has actually been this horrible villain this whole time or something like that?
Since the Krakoan age, basically.
Okay.
I don't know if he's been the horrible villain or if he developed into one.
He did. It kind of feels like he's a guy who was like, hey, we can't win unless we take on the same elements as our enemies.
Yeah.
So we have to be ruthless. We have to be brutal, and we have to be cruel.
And I dipped out of that X-Force run after a while just because I didn't vibe with it.
Yeah, I like the idea. I don't know if I would enjoy the execution in an issue by issue way. I hate the fact that they used Hank McCoy to do that.
Yeah,
because that's a character I really, really have always enjoyed.
He was my first love of all the X-Men, even before like Wolverine and all that. Like I dug Beast hardcore, especially like when he was just big, bulky Hank McCoy. Like I remember when they did the reissues of,
and he's like rolling on a bowling ball, reading.
I love that. Like any excuse to have him like grab onto something with his feet and like spin around before like leaping off. They'd find a way to do it. It was wonderful.
I think that Beast started on that pathway probably to kind of where he ended up during Morrison's run.
He's gone back and forth, but yeah.
I think that that's the run where he starts to like basically start to act like humanity is now completely separate from mutants and should not be confined to the mores and ideas of humanity any longer. Like he's just like, I'm just not a person anymore. I mean, you have to understand that. And that's where we get like the natural or unnatural evolution to him being a villain is like, oh, they're going to come for us. They have been coming for us since we've been around. Yeah. So we need to strike first. And we need to strike hard and ruthlessly. And that I'm not playing the game for now. I'm playing for the win later. So I'm willing to like clone a bunch of Wolverines and take away their free will and use them as, suicide bombers and things like that. I'll do whatever I have to do. I'll take the team that I was ostensibly put together for me to utilize the Black Ops team, and I will literally use them, in every sense of the word.
Yeah. And again, I don't think there's, I think there's a good story there. I don't know if Beast was the guy that I would have done it.
Yeah, I think I think they were afraid to take any of the villains that they had basically given amnesty to and have them do it. I don't know.
I don't think you needed to do that, but I get that, you want to, it's more interesting maybe if you're using a character that's been around that long, and Forge has already kind of done that thing and come back from it. But Dr. Nemesis probably doesn't have the prominence that you want for something like that. But yeah. I don't know.
I'm not saying I agree with it or even that I like it. I think it's an interesting idea.
Yeah, execution wise, that I got pretty sick of that series. It's one of I think it's the only. Yeah, it's the only Krakoan age, that and Wolverine, which are the same writer. Those are the only Krakoan X-Men titles that I dropped.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like that. Well, and they're kind of similar in the fact that it feels like we're getting the toys being put back in the toy box.
Yeah, I think the stuff that's going on right now in Fall of the Powers of X. They're pulling back to the
Fall of the House of the Powers of the Usher of X.
Going back to the Moira thing.
But the fact that like Sabretooth killed all of Wolverine's family now, all those.
I just caught up on that. That's nuts. That was
which to me it's like, why did you spend all this time making these interesting characters?
Exactly. Yeah.
To shoot about, like developing someone like Daken as a great example of a character who you actually put a lot of thought into and made into something interesting, and then you just basically kill him off screen.
Well, I think they'll all be back, but I'm pretty sure they're going to hit a hard reset on it. I don't know whether,
I don't know if they will, because now we're getting a multiversal Wolverine team.
Yes,
which is the dumbest fucking thing. Like, it may drive sales, but it's completely creatively bankrupt.
It's Christos Gage though, and he does good work.
That's true, but we'll see. If he pulls that into something interesting, then he's one of the greatest writers of the last 10 years. Because as an idea, I find that to just be like the most shameless.
It's been done a lot already, though. You know, like just think of like Deadpool Corps. Like
this is that.
Spider-Verse. You can go on.
Oh God, yeah.
Clone
Saga, just the Clone Saga.
Yeah, basically what it is Marvel is like, well, we don't have. Why does DC have a multiverse? We'll just have a multiverse, and then they just don't. I don't find that they do a whole lot of interesting things with it.
Not the way I don't know. I think DC, even though they keep trying to I think we got to reset this tomorrow.
That's the worst.
I think they have a better handle on how to utilize a multiverse. Everything's still there, there's an awareness, but things are still so very separate at times. I
feel like the difference between them is Jack Kirby.
Yeah.
Because
the ghost of Jack Kirby.
Yeah, the ghost of Jack Kirby. I feel like the DC stuff, when it comes to multiversal stuff, all has the feel of a Jack Kirby-esque thing going on. With the Source Wall and the New Gods, and that Morrison laid out a lot of the pathways for that. They don't eliminate things like hyper time is still a thing. It's just a different thing. And I feel like Marvel just goes, here's a billion worlds. And that's why I found the multi or Justice League Incarnate more interesting than the multiversal Avengers.
Yeah.
But that's just me. DC multi. We need to have this character step into and live the life of the hero, so we decide to kill him on a whim. Hey, Marvel does the same shit. Marvel does this. They both do it, and it doesn't fucking matter.
And I'd say the one thing that DC maybe does too is like you definitely if you're like we're in Earth 2, you know what Earth 2 is, you know, like
Well, I think you used to.
Yeah, I guess
think
things have
the
changed.
only one you can say that about now is still Earth 3. Everyone knows
Yeah.
Earth 3 is the Crime Syndicate world. But
Yeah.
if you were to say,
that's changed a lot.
yeah, even that's not the exact same anymore. Oh, and
But
Earth X. Everyone who
we-
knows comics knows that Earth X is where the Nazis won.
But like I
That's
guess then at least we have those like ideas of like, oh, this is this, and here's what happens here, and this is this, and like outside of the only thing I can think of maybe in Marvel that there's like, oh, I know exactly what the rules are in this place is like the Cancerverse or whatever.
Even
but
that,
like
that's not even a thing right now.
Yeah. God, these multiverses, do we need them? New question.
I think we do, but I think they should also like tell more stories in them. One of the things they did in New 52 that was actually good was we got an Earth 2 book.
Yeah.
I guess I like the there's pluses and minuses to Marvel's approach, because the freewheeling thing I think works okay, because it's like, oh yeah, we can do an Exiles run, and here's the universe where like Namor is a hippie, and we don't need to get super into it. And so we can just,
you can do a story with no consequence.
We can just throw some shit at you, and that's
it's sliders.
I enjoy that. Without it, like we have to like there's pluses and minuses, because you get into the Morrison thing where it's like, yep, here's a map, here's what every world is supposed to be, please pull out your textbooks, class.
I love that shit though. I love that there's 52 there was 52 universes, and that like they all had like a theme. I loved that.
I mean, and the Marvel multiverse stuff, that's all that goes back to Alan Moore. So,
yep.
Captain Britain.
Oh, and I will say I do love when, although the results have been, you could say they've been diminishing, but I love when Marvel pulls together Secret Wars, man. That's always a fun time.
I think it depends on who writes it.
I think
if you go back and reread that original Secret Wars, you go, man, this really was to sell toys.
Oh yeah.
And then you
read but there's
you read Hickman's thing, and you're
there's like
okay, this is really interesting.
But even in that first Secret Wars, like Doctor Doom has some legit like badass like, oh yeah, go for it, dude moments where he's like, I got all the power.
I think that every character actually in the first Secret Wars gets kind of a moment to shine, which is interesting. Like it actually feels like, I love the fact that the X-Men are kind of at first like, we ain't with you assholes.
Yeah.
Like, this is between y'all. My name's Paul. This is between y'all. Colossus gets a girlfriend. Kitty gets upset with Colossus about that. Ben Grimm doesn't even leave Battleworld.
Isn't he like, I'm going to stay here?
Yeah. And then when he comes back, he finds out that Johnny's shacking up with Alicia, which turns out to be a Skrull. Big story later on.
Well,
and then She-Hulk took his place, and he's kind of like, oh, no, that's fine, that's cool. We get Hulk holding up an entire mountain.
Yeah.
I can't remember more with the bad guys beyond Doom if they get anything that's super super cool, but yeah, that's like
I think what is it? Is it?
I mean, it's Molecule.
Is it Molecule Man?
Yeah,
is that the
more development than he's had in a while in it about most other stuff, but a lot of the other villains don't get a ton. We did get Titania and Volcana out of it, which I like. So.
Yeah, I love both those characters. Don't we get our first like interaction between the Absorbing Man and Titania in that?
Well, yeah, Absorbing Man does some cool stuff.
So
Spider-Man gets.
I love that character, by the way.
I love the fact that those two characters have actually evolved over time.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man,
like natural evolution.
To think of like
there's a bit in the current She-Hulk series, where they now just have a superhero fight club that She-Hulk has put together. So it's her and Ben Grimm and Titania, and I think Volcana shows up, and basically it's just like, let's all get together and just blow off some steam and kind of knock the shit out of each other in a place where nobody can get hurt, because this whole deal where like I'm trying to live my life and then you show up and beat the shit out of me, Skeeter, is not.
But they already had that conversation,
right?
Like,
and now,
in a different run, they had that conversation, and they had like a fight, and then they were like, they stopped fighting because you're not really into this time. And she's like, no, you keep showing up and trying to kill me, and I'm just kind of fucking sick of it. And
and this is like, okay,
she's like, we just bought a house, and she's like, what? Yeah, me and Creole, we bought a house, and she's like, that's fucking awesome. Like,
that's what this is. It's just like, let's all, they got jackets made.
Okay, now I'm kind of into it. They made jackets. Okay.
Yeah, it's just let's get together, and just
hell yeah,
knock each other around, have some fun, and then go back to our lives.
This is a windy stuff. There was one set of footprints in an Arby's parking lot where you carried me. Yeah, I think like honest character development like that is super cool. I hate when they feel hell yeah, Super Spike. I hate when a new writer comes in and decides they have to go back and fuck with that. Because Dan Slott already did that, and it was real good.
Yes. Well,
yeah.
This was cementing that, I think, really just formalizing it to a degree.
I would have taken that a step farther and been like, we're going to restart the unlimited class world or wrestling federation, then just done it all for charity.
That technically has never gone away.
Nobody does anything cool with it anymore.
But it's not. Well, yeah, no, it rarely shows up.
Somebody should do a book that's just that. Like, just do a book with, like, the businesses of the Marvel Universe.
I mean,
just do an undercover boss of the businesses of the Marvel Universe.
The last time it showed up, it was to it was this big deal, and the Vince equivalent like stole the receipts and tried to escape, and then they beat him up. And it was D-Man's big return to the ring.
God, there's a character that
they should do a book where it's like an insurance claims adjuster who goes to like all the different like groups and like is having to like figure out all these things of like, okay, you need like fireproof stuff.
Powered insurance claims adjuster. that
I mean, I wish there was a room for damage control to.
I was just
How did they make damage control evil?
They did, and then it wasn't.
Wait, why would they do that with what? When did they do that? When did they go bad?
Civil War.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that.
Stuff in Wolverine where it was like, oh yeah, somebody bobbed out damage control and they were using them for shady shit. I don't know. Anyway, that's
Mark Miller.
That's been undone. I can't remember who was writing Wolverine at the time, but yeah, that's been undone, which I'm fine with.
Oh my God! Why do I even get invested in this stuff to the point where it upsets me?
Yeah, you just show up and read it, and it's better.
Yeah, and I don't know. It's sometimes you get through the bad stuff and there's something awesome. Although sometimes just there's more bad after bad, and you're just like, oh no.
Oh.
Yeah. I just had guests stop by though. I'm gonna have to pop off real quick. If they leave in time, I will return. But if I don't,
have fun with your guests.
Good afternoon, good evening, and good night, everybody. Bye.
Bon voyage.
All right. What do you got? What do you got? You want to mess with today?
Sorry.
No, that's fine.
All right. So I just been adding stuff, like I said, like little things that popped into my head for different games.
Yeah.
I know you guys talked about cryptids, and so I moved those into their own categories. I had an idea for, and I've already run this by Shannon, but they're going to meet a Carcadon pirate who
Oh.
she started her career under, who refers to her as Lemon, since in game she always makes lemon bars. The whole idea being that she started out working for this guy, and he showed her the ropes, and at one point, years later, she finally just determines, like, I'm never going to be captain here. Everyone loves this guy, and he loves all of his crew, and she just leaves, like, in the dead of night. So when they meet again, I'm going to do this classic Star Wars. You got a lot of nerve coming here. And the name Elasmo Isserus is actually parts of the scientific name for sharks. So, doesn't make him like this big, bulky, like almost like a like whale shark looking dude. I have this in my head too about a guy who's just like the Corellian, who's like a guy whose family made weapons systems from Corellia, and was arrested during his family was arrested during the Clone Wars by the GAR, as they were supplying. They were advocating for the CIS. They wanted Corellia to not be a part of the Republic. They felt like taxation and everything else, it was fucking them over, and they were giving the CIS these weapons for next to nothing. So they were arrested, and he basically didn't get arrested. He got away, and decided how. So when the Empire comes to power, he's like, fucking, they're going to let my family free. This is going to be awesome. We're no longer going to be political prisoners. Instead, the Empire just does what it does with a lot of those political prisoners and just sentences them to worse. So they put him in the mines of Kessel, and there they die. So this guy now gets a crew of kind of in like the Partisans fashion, gets a crew together, and just starts killing Imperials. And not just killing like the Imperials, he kills everybody, like scorched earth. He kills you, your family, your dog, your neighbors, anyone who you might give a shit about. He just makes sure they're dead. So this place, Lost and Found, the way I envision it is it's like a big landing pad just in the upper atmosphere of like a planet kind of like Bespin, where it used to be a gas mining facility.
Okay.
So it's this massive like platform, and then underneath the platform there's a central space, but everything else are these giant cargo containers that have been magnetically sealed to this central spire and can be moved. The rules here are, it's basically a kind of like Nowhere was in the comics for a while, where it was just like, this is a neutral place, or Sigil in D&D, like bad guys, good guys, business people, doesn't matter. You can all come here. But the thing they do is when you come in, they take your weapons.
Okay.
They have a secondary place for droids to go, because to them, droids are just a weapon. We never know who actually runs this place.
Okay.
It's on the edge of the Outer Rim, where the Outer Rim almost touches the Hapes Consortium, which the Hapes Consortium is another like mini empire in Star Wars that has stayed out of everything. They're like a matriarchic society that never joined the Republic. They've never been a part of the Republic, ever. They've never been a part of the Sith Empire. They've always stayed kind of their own thing. In fact, their technology looks weird because of that. They're an actual Star Wars thing. Like the Empire at one point goes to kind of try to woo them into joining. Even tries to set up like couple of arranged marriages and stuff. And the Hapes are kind of like, yeah, we see that you're real powerful and everything, and you could probably take this all over, but it's going to cost you. Do you really want to waste all your time and effort on us? You have a rebellion on your hands.
Yeah.
We'll just agree to stay out of it. Like, we don't want any part of you. We'll trade occasionally, but they keep their borders controlled and everything. So this place, Lost and Found, sits on the edge of like the Outer Rim and the Hapes Consortium.
Okay.
But so like the thing is, you turn all your weapons in, and they give everyone a special vibro blade. And it's basically like, hey, you kill somebody here, that's, we'll dispose of the body, but you got to kill him with a blade. So you have to be able to, what this is like. So it's, you can't just shoot somebody from
Yeah.
if you want to assassinate somebody, that's fine, but they have a fighting chance. So the other thing is they can like separate these converted cargo containers and move them around. So you can't like plan something.
Oh.
Because they just keep moving the layout of the it's kind of a station or whatever. They can also just jettison one. Like, let's say you stop paying rent, they just jettison your container. So there's a consistent, also because it's on the edge of the Imperial space, the Empire has like 2 Star Destroyers like just out there sitting nearby. But they don't interfere. And the reason they don't is because they have agents inside Lost and Found who are constantly milling it for information. Because it's a place where like smugglers and slavers and mercenaries and rebels, everybody goes. So they just have people like, it's a good place to insert undercover people. So getting back to the Corellian just shows up, gets drunk here off and on, and kills Imperials. He's the type of guy who will call somebody out, and if they try to get away, he'll just kill them and then sit back down, finish his drink, and then say, who's next? Like, who else? He's also got a huge scar that starts like in this part of his chin and runs up. So it like actually cuts through his lip. So kind of Jonah Hex-esque.
Okay.
It's not a burn. It's just a scar. So you can see some of his teeth even when he's not smiling. But I thought he looks very young except for that, but his hair is like almost shock white. He's got a crew, he's got a ship. He's one of those characters, like he's okay at everything, but he's very meticulous, dangerous, and has absolutely no morals. And it's a character that the PCs might interact with, they might not. I just kind of like the idea of this kind of almost Lee Van Cleef in The Good and the Bad and the Ugly type of space western shitbag. Completely moralless character. So yeah, and I really like the idea of having somewhere called Lost and Found that was like just continually getting bigger at times, because it can also get bigger. And the reason I have this, because I know you're probably not going to play, I can just spoil it. The PCs get a call from,
it's going to be a while before I'm able to get back
a guy named Cal Sclerata. Do you know who Cal Sclerata is?
No.
I don't know if it's canon still, but in Legends, Cal Sclerata was one of the Mandalorians who helped train the clones.
Oh, okay.
He was a guy who at times had worked with Jango Fett, and the art makes him look like oh god, now I can't think of the actor's name, Ed Harris.
Oh,
but his armor's gold. It's like a dingy gold, and he rarely wears his helmet. But the whole thing is like during all this is happening, he's kind of like having a lot of issues. So he gets drunk. Like when he's the guy who takes over the first batch of failed clones. The Null clone. The first group of like ARC troopers are called the Null troopers.
Okay.
And the problem with them was they couldn't follow orders. They were too much like Jango. So he takes them and he treats them like his kids.
Interesting.
But like he trains all these commandos, and the whole thing they kind of tell in the different stories about him is like he really gives a shit about these clones. But then he'd get drunk and he would basically, say horrible shit to them about how they're not real people and all this stuff. And it kind of, as it goes along, you kind of figure out, oh, well, this is partly because he's fucked up from killing other Mandalorians and like he's kind of a mess. But he also, like, he and his kids, which he basically refers to them as his kids, they leave before shit gets bad. They fake their deaths and they leave, and they basically become a mercenary unit, kind of like the A-Team. They also find, because they had people like in the Empire, when the Empire first forms, they pull a Superman 3 and they're stealing from the Empire constantly by just stealing tiny bits, which amount to millions of credits.
Yeah.
So they don't need money. They're doing everything for fun. There's a whole bunch of stories about Cal Scarada and his group, like his clones rename themselves to Mandalorian names. But there's also a story about how he gets one of the Kaminoans to fix the aging issue.
No.
So I want to touch upon that because the characters, the first group of in Scum and Villainy have clones with them, and that's the thing. It was like the worry about them aging, and he basically says, he tells them like, "I need a favor from you," and the players find out is the clones that they work with are off doing something for Cal Scarada. And he says, I have a way basically to help them, but I need you to do it because I can't go back into Lost and Found because they'll shoot my ship down on sight. Alluding to the fact that he might have done some shit. He might have done some shit. So he like, there's a group of cloners in Lost and Found who were actually were the other big group of cloners who weren't the Kaminoans, and all of a sudden I can't remember their name. They are like a human, they're like humanoid.
Okay.
God, what are their name? They've got an actual name, and again, I don't know if they're canon or not anymore. Let me see if I can find their names again really quick. But like one of the things too, as things go along, is Cal Scarada wants to kill the Kaminoans. Any of them that survived, he wants them dead because he finds what they did, like how they treated the clones, to be completely unacceptable. He also hates the Jedi, so
He's got a lot of
because he's fought the Jedi.
Right.
God damn it. I love how like it's easy to find stuff about the Kaminoans, but it's real hard to find about this other fucking thing that I knew about, and I should have written down like a long time ago. Other cloners. Other cloner companies. What's that? Cloner companies, because they're a company. Probably help if I put in Star Wars. Because instead I get like 7 minutes as they cloned others and made millions. Why are you not giving it to me? They're just like clone troopers over and over again. And that's cool, but I don't know about them. Let me put it on my phone. They got matching jackets. So anyway, these other cloners, which do exist, I swear, they're like an organization, and their big thing is they were known for kind of making clones fast and quick.
Okay.
But they were not like the best clones. They were like throwaway clones. Like they have like a name for that. Like, so he like finds out that they have one of the Kaminoans, and that from what he's heard, it was given to them as a gift, and it's a Kaminoan, one of the Kaminoan survivors, one of the only survivors, in Carbonite. So he's like, I want you to steal that and bring it to me, because I need them so I can. Because the thing I have works for my batch of clones,
but not.
But I don't think it's going to work for your boys.
Yeah.
Companies that do cloning in Star Wars. Maybe that'll work. No, it's a company of. I don't want that. I want an actual. Like, I swear I did not just fucking invent all this whole cloth. There's literally another group of goddamn cloners in Star Wars.
I'm trying
What?
to see.
Why can't I find this? This is fucking driving me insane today. Luckily, Chainsaw Massacre is playing. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Maybe I have to put in Legends.
Hmm.
Massacre. Took my baby away from me. Are there any other cloning observations outside the Kaminoans? Fuck yeah, there are. Why is this not anywhere?
Yeah, I'm trying to find something too, but
When I say Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you know what I'm talking about, right?
sounds.
Have you ever heard this Ramon song called Chainsaw?
No.
That's about Texas
I mean,
Chainsaw Massacre. Texas Chainsaw Massacre. They took my baby away from me. They cut her up, and I don't care. It's great, and of course, it's a Ramon song, so it's like not even fitting the song. Cloners besides the Kaminoans in Star Wars Legends. Matt, why can't I find this? And why does it upset me so much?
Let's if I can find. There's a
Kaminoan.
group of renegade cloners. Oh.
Ooh, Renegade Cloners is my synth funk cover band.
Yeah, there's the Clone Masters.
Clone Masters, that's who it is. What is their name?
Clone Masters.
But they have like a name for the planet they're from.
Oh. Well, I mean, at least here it says they're rogue Kaminoans. But
No, there was a group that was literally. Oh, god damn it. See, whenever someone says the Clone Masters, it just makes me think of the song Renegades of Funk for some weird reason. We're the Renegades of Funk. By the way, did you listen to the cover I put in the group the other day where some band from Austin covered the Ghetto Boys song "My Mind's Playing Tricks on Me"?
I did not catch
It's
that.
fucking amazing. It is maybe my new favorite cover. It's real good to hear a bunch of, I'm pretty sure, except for the African American dude on organ, are all white dudes. I'm pretty sure they're all white dudes. Play the funkiest, perfect fucking cover, except for making sure they use other words rather than the N word, which is not terribly a lot in that song, except for Bushwick Bill's verse where he says it like 6 times in 30 words. And you're like, oh, that song is so good. That's like one of the best rap songs of all time. I mean, a rap song about mental health in the fucking late 80s, early 90s.
Okay, so there's the strand casting.
Maybe I saw it on Corey Loses, or not Corey, on Eckert's Ladder.
Yeah, I'm just looking through.
Yes, there it is. Found it. It's on Geetsleys. I'll put it in our regular ass big voice chat. This is probably where I heard about this. And it was, let me see if I...
They were Hut clone troopers?
That I don't know anything about.
Yeah. Which I feel like I probably read that story, but maybe I missed it.
No. Why? Why? But why? But why be though? Arcanian Clone Masters.
Okay.
Arcanian Clone Masters. Arcanian Clone Masters Star Wars. Arcanian Microtechnologies. These are dudes who do it.
Genetic manipulation.
So the whole thing is they like made flash clones, basically. They gave you and these clones, they were not as, first of all, they just like, I think they called it like half baked them. So they weren't like grown to where their mentality was as where their bodies were. So use that like flash learning training that they used with the clone troopers, but way faster, which gave their clones a high propensity for like complete mental breakdown. Because you were just smashing information to their head, so they had like no emotional growth whatsoever. They were never given like practical skills. It was just like, here's a whole shit ton of information for you to process, and hopefully you'll figure it out. So they could make clones way faster. So anyway, as I was saying, he hires them because he finds out the Arcanian Clone Masters, they have a what would you call like a small outlet facility on Lost and Found, where they do they set up work, they take payment, they set up distribution. It's kind of like when you go to like a high-end place that has a very small office where they're like, we don't keep anything here. We just make the deals here.
Does
that make sense?
Yeah. I'm trying to think what that's. There's a specific name.
Yeah, there's like a name for it. But anyway, so this is where they're at, and they're gonna have to go in there. And one of the things I wanted to bring back, let's see if I can find it really quick, is in a previous Star Wars game. You might have played in this one. A group ran across a Jedi on a derelict Star Destroyer.
Playing that one.
Yeah, I can't remember the character's name. But this Jedi is actually there.
Oh.
And is allowing these cloners to basically, the cloners think they're like getting like these biological pieces of this Jedi to learn how to clone it. And they're just literally just getting scar tissue the Jedi can shed. And the Jedi is using them. So when the Jedi sees Oh, the Jedi's name is Nix Orez. Sees like the matron. Immediately it's like, oh shit, I remember you. You tried to fucking kill me. So, I want it to be like, oh no, this person's going to cause a bunch of shit and it's going to go down. But in fact, that's not true. They're like, I need your help.
Oh,
I need a place to go. And when I'm assuming the players will be like, well, like, we don't want to kill all these people, but we kind of need this thing they have. And the Jedi is like, oh, I'll kill all these motherfuckers. So it kills the entire lab. And this is like how I'm seeing it go in my head. I don't think it'll go this way, but kills them and basically takes its genetic material back, takes all the money it would have earned from it, basically robs them. It's like, okay, well, see, I want to go with you because I trust you because like you had a chance to kill me and you didn't. And I've been keeping track of who you are. And I actually think are beyond the fact I hate force sensitive people. I think our end goals align a little bit. And what I kind of want to get to the point of like explaining it towards like later on is that the Jedi is about to birth a child. Because I don't know if they've ever said how that happens.
I don't, not that I'm aware of, but.
And the Jedi are basically like just a giant, massive muscle. Like they only form themselves into humanoid shapes because that way people will be like, oh.
Yeah.
Especially if you've seen the Genndy Tartakovsky Clone Wars cartoon, which is the first Jedi we see, which is Dirge.
Mm.
They're fucking a monster.
Yeah.
In the best way. They're like, what's the video game I play where you're the teeth and eyes thing monster? I can't, Carrion. They're basically Carrion. Video game. And I love that idea. This person's like, oh, like, I just wear your shape because it pleases you. I don't have to. So it also would give the players another NPC if they chose to play it in another team. And I think the Jedi are fucking that, they basically they're pacifists until they get so fucking messed up from constantly regenerating that they become sort of sociopaths. And they recognize they become sociopaths. So some of them are totally cool with that. They just embrace it. Others are like, I just do this until someone comes along and finally ends me. Because I can't end myself.
Yeah.
So I need someone to put me down. And I kind of like that idea of also like this. I watch a lot of weird serial killer stuff. I like the Ed Kemper type of thing where Ed Kemper's like, they used it in Mindhunter as well. They actually used the actual dialogue from an interview with him. Where they're like talking about how many serial killers they think are out there, and he laughs at them, and they're like, well, what is so funny? He's like, you're completely off base with that. Like, you didn't catch me. I turned myself in.
Yeah.
Like, I could have just kept going. And honestly, I hate to say this, you never would have caught me. I chose to be caught. So think about how many people out there are like me that choose not to get caught. And that might give you an idea of what you're dealing with.
Yeah.
Because I think at the time, and that show's like set in the late 60s, early 70s, I want to say.
Yeah.
And they're talking about like they only think there's like 20 to 40 active serial killers in America at the time. And he's like, no. There's far more of us than you have any recognition of. Like, he only caught me because I wanted to be caught. Because I was like tired of doing what I was doing. Like, so I wanted to be caught. And I like that idea of like this character being like, no, I wanted to be caught.
Yeah.
Like I recognize. Plus, I think it's cool to have a character that anybody could play. Because I kind of again want people to be who want to play Star Wars can jump in and play a character like this, and just have the blurb that this person's a Jedi who's kind of so broken at this point that they are like it's like a spree killer.
Yeah.
But they're like, they're willing just to kill. They're like, oh, you want me to kill the whole room? Well, I'll just get out of the way then, because I'm gonna you want me to do the whole village?
You asked nicely, so
Yeah. So that was kind of my thought on that. And then, having the ability from there to try to get their way out. And I like the idea of it like being a place they could return to. Hey, Colin, if they so chose. And it's kind of like a nice middle ground. And also, if they get in a fight, it's like not a gunfight. It's like you have to put somebody down.
You got to put the work in.
But there's imps everywhere.
Oh yeah.
And also, to fly in, you can't just like fly in, gun the place up, and leave, because it's a platform with like turbo laser mounts have been put in, like that are on like the you would see in later on in New Hope when they're on the Death Star when they do the trench run. There's like a couple of those on this like basically parking lot in space. And then of course you've got those couple Star Destroyers just floating out there who bizarrely enough don't interfere, which also makes you go, okay, well, who's paid here? Like who controls this facility? Because no one knows. They just know that this is what it is. Which I like that idea too, well, that it may turn out it's the fucking Empire that controls it.
Yeah.
Who's to say it's not an Imperial facility where they just put trackers on everybody's ship? That it could just be some big, way to continue to mine for information and get like basically track criminals or other enterprises that way. I love that idea as well, but it doesn't have to be that. We can be whatever it needs to be.
I also really, the it being made of like cargo containers that they can just kind of move around at will is really fun to me. I'm just picturing them like firing one into a ship and it's full of dudes or something to attack.
They're all just converted cargo containers.
Yeah, so they just like, or even just, we're just going to rearrange these all into a fucking Voltron.
Yeah, well, and I like, and one of the things I wanted to like get across is like this place is like a mall, but it's like a mall with like a dance club in the middle of it. I want it to be like this continuous Star Wars rave going off, because this is also a place where people blow off steam.
Yeah,
it's rather than the dingy cantina we've seen over and over and over again in Star Wars, like the Western bar. I want this to be like the 80s, the space 80s.
54.
Yeah, like where they have the weird hula hooping in Space Mutiny. Yeah, I love how Matt, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do. I hate that I do, but oh man.
I want it to be like the Star Wars equivalent of that.
But not cheap.
Fair enough. So that's where I'm at with Star Wars right now. I had this other idea for another game. I know we were talking a bunch about Defunctland yesterday. I watched your video, is fucking great. And then I sent a video. It was about urban explorers going into Disneyland and going into Disney World, and then going into places that had been closed down.
There was a thing, I saw pictures from it, and this is probably, I don't know, 5-10 years ago now, but it was a guy who was I think he was a scuba diver. Anyway, but there's like off the coast of California, there's like a naval.
Oh, okay. This is not the same thing, because there's an island in Florida. There was like a nature preserve island that Disney had, and then was like, we're done. And urban explorers have been going.
They got rid of that. They got rid of that because people were fucking with the animals. And the animals started like going after people. And there was some dude like lived out there for a while, maybe. Anyway, off the coast of California, there's like a naval like junkyard essentially, and it's patrolled, but it's not like super tightly patrolled, or at least it wasn't at the time. So this guy just got like, once you get past the perimeter, like you're probably not going to get noticed. Mm-hmm. So he went in there and was just looking around, and inside one of the ships there, he found like this prototype stealth ship that, like, I don't know that anybody had known had actually been made.
Your tax dollars at work, ladies and gentlemen.
It was just sitting there inside this other ship. Just all this, crazy shit. Just
so I really like watching shit like that, and God, I can't. Dan something who does the I can't think what those things are called now, where he goes to abandoned buildings, mainly in like the Baltimore area where he lives, which is fucking scary in itself.
Sure.
God, I keep wanting to say Dan Brown. That's not Dan Brown. It's
Yeah, that's the fucking Da Vinci Code.
Da Vinci
Yeah.
Code. I think I know who you're talking about. Isn't it like, does he, is it, it's not the Dead Mall series. That's
Yeah, he did Dead Malls.
another. Oh, is
He
that
did
him?
Dead Malls.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, he did Dead Malls. Which is also
I
Dan
think
Bell.
he posted a newer one.
Dan
And
Bell. That's
he's
his
in
name.
this mall and the power's still on. But
When the music's
It's
just playing
wild.
all fucking creepy, it feels very like zombie apocalypse. It's so
Yeah.
creepy. I watched one a little while ago where they were in Baltimore. It's at night and they're in a fucking real rough part of town, and they went in somewhere and there was a dude sleeping.
Well, that's like
And they were like,
I know hikers and shit will find they were finding, at least, probably not now that it's more legal, but they were finding grow-ups out in like the national parks and stuff in California.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, there's a fence here, and oh, here comes a guy with a assault rifle.
Have you
That's-
ever
yeah.
seen the Hulu Bigfoot documentary?
No.
I think it might have just been called Sasquatch. It's only like 4 episodes. So the whole thing is it's got this relatively famous videographer who was like, he was a combat photographer. He's been in some shit. And he does this documentary about Bigfoot. But it's really not about Bigfoot. It's about growers in California. And how one night when he was doing like interacting with these people, some of their people burst in and said that they had been attacked by Bigfoot. And the 2 of the people that they were with were dead. Had been ripped apart.
Jeez.
It's real interesting because he's like, I'm not going to say that they weren't fucked up on methamphetamines and all these other things. And then it might not have been another grower who killed him, because he goes and talks to all these criminals basically during this. It's like, hey, have you ever heard stuff about this or whatever? A lot of them are like, come on, man. But some of them are like, hey, shit goes down out here. And I'm not saying I killed anybody, but I do know people have been killed.
Yeah. I did see some photos recently of bears like standing, like especially like skinny bears in the spring, and they're like, oh yeah, this is probably what people think Sam Squanches are.
But I mean, it's like, if you're looking for something interesting in the Sam Squatch region of things, it's not, it's real weird, but it's like weird in the best way possible. And it's on Hulu. So, I mean, it was their thing. They made it. But I think it's just called Sasquatch. It's like, like I said, it's either 3 or 4 episodes. And they're all like an hour long. And it's a documentary style thing. It's just, there's like little animated reenactments. Yeah. I mean, like I said, the guy's actually got credentials. Like, he's like legit credentials at his journalist. So you're like, but he's like, my whole thing with doing this is I still don't know what happened to those people. And it bugs me all the time that I don't know what happened to them. But a lot of it's about like how this is a thriving drug trade.
Yeah.
That, relies a lot on migrant workers who don't have IDs. And if they die, no one fucking cares.
Or
So,
maybe even knows. Yeah.
Yeah. And that this is enough of an area of wilderness that you can just get rid of a body. It has a very strange, like, Appalachian-like feel to that region, but not Appalachian.
Oh,
like, it's like
Northern California is an interesting.
It's like hippie. It's like hippie Appalachia.
Yeah, but you also
bikers.
get like you get, there's still plenty of that. It's it's that anti-government vibe in a different direction.
Yeah.
And you still have a lot of fucking weirdos up there who,
I mean, he talks to a lot of these people. A lot of them are like, he's like, this is where biker culture, hippie culture, and anti-government culture like all coincide in the Venn diagram.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the growers are like hippies who also are big into guns. Who are like, I mean, this is prior to like legalization. So this is like a couple years old, I want to say.
Yeah.
I recommend it. It's real weird, but I like the idea of doing something with, whether it's, Hellboy or whether it's Mountain Monsters or whatever, doing something like that. Because a lot of it is like, these people are heavily fucking armed. He's like, and if there was something like this going on out here, like, let's say there was a cryptid out here, well, for the sake of argument, who are they going to tell?
Yeah.
Hey, there's a monster that's eating my weed, and killing my fucking employees. Oh, who are my employees? They're undocumented illegals.
Well, let's not get into that.
I mean, it really is this wild fucking thing going on there. Like, my dad used to tell stories that early on when he was doing beat work, cops used to rob drug dealers, and rather than take them in, they would just destroy their product.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, who are you going to tell?
Yeah.
Because if I take you in, the turnaround on you being in jail is going to be super short, and you won't show up to your court hearing. You'll just continue doing what you're doing. So fuck you. Now you don't have anything to sell. Which is also corrupt as fuck.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I find like that whole dynamic of like lawlessness by choice. And then because you did lawlessness by choice, now it's lawlessness is the law, being extremely interesting to drop something in. So yeah, other last but not least on my list of things I got away from. You guys ever seen the DNO paper and stuff I used to do for DNO?
I can't remember if I have.
Let's pull some of this out. So I used to do physical media for DNO, like for them, like we would do an episode and then I would crank one thing out before the next episode.
Oh, nice.
But I haven't done it in a while. The players really liked it, but I also was like, it was a lot to try to come up with all the ideas and then put it together. I don't think that was what it is. And yes, I know I have a ton of files in here. Is it? So like, I'll just open some different stuff here real quick. Okay, so it started off with this. It was like a paper from Sigil.
Oh, nice.
Also gave me a way to stick words that are like part of the cant for Sigil, like the language it's within the city.
Mm-hmm.
But also I could put like things that were going on, or I could drop like threads into it.
Yeah.
So I was doing this like every week, which is a lot.
Yeah, that would add up.
And then sometimes I would change it, and like this is one of the NPCs. They have a malediction, which is I did this based off of is it Marashi? The 25 tenets of the samurai that was a thing. I can't think of what it was called now. But like this is this person's like malediction. This is what they believe. This is like something that they heed. It's their own thing. They've written it out. A letter from Skitch, who's a friend of the, but who's also kind of like an illiterate childlike character. So he refers to like them by names, and then also I just put pictures in it because it felt like it made more sense. Or a class of a class catalog for the players who choose their classes when I did university. I think I may have done this on a prep school.
Yeah, that one I remember us working on.
Journal of another NPC.
That's really cool.
A family tree. So it was like, here are all the different groups of kids that Uncle Tani at one time or another had adopted. And if they were not emboldened, it meant they were dead.
Oh.
So like, I kind of want to start doing some of this again. And like, Colin, you did an awesome for Chaos Scar. You did this awesome voice intro, and I haven't done any voice intro things in a long time. So
Yeah, that was fun.
I was thinking like, I want to kind of get back to that. And I was also thinking of like doing one for Star Wars and doing decoded Imperial transmission. So finding a way to like, if I can find a way to find like a shitty Star Wars hologram of an Imperial, you know, like where they're holding it out and it's like that blue figure kind of, and then just have like a person reading, most likely in a terrible British accent, since for whatever reason most bad guys in Star Wars are real British.
Yes.
Except for that guy in Mandalorian, which I loved the fact that he was straight up Southern. And then he gets shot in the face. But like doing something like that, I think adds a great deal to like immersion.
Oh, absolutely.
And then for D&O, maybe doing a class, like a school paper. I don't know. So I'm looking for ideas. If people have better ideas than this, or have ways to refine it a little bit better. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, I'll have to think on that and see what I can scare up.
All right. It's Matt's bedtime.
I don't know why I'm tired. Guess I'll blame the cats, as I usually do. But
and I am mentally in a weird spot, so I think we're gonna call it.
All right.
I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll go watch a movie or something. Probably do the Peddler for a little bit.
You're gonna have Helix be the band here at Lost and Found.
Helix.
No, Helix. That's right.
Helix. Why does that sound familiar? Where's Helix? What is Helix from, Matt?
That was that the Funkland thing I sent you.
Oh, God damn, that's right. Yes. Okay, they'll be the band. That's right. I forgot all about that. Helix is the house band. Yeah. Excellent. Good. Great. Fine. No yelling on the bus. Where can people find you beautiful people? You beautiful humans.
I'm here most Sundays. I'm doing Chop and Shop on the Dave Wonder channel every other Tuesday, including this coming Tuesday. And yeah, I'm on Instagram. I'm on Blue Sky, Hypno Hustler, or some variation of it. Most of those places, but I haven't updated my Instagram in forever. So.
Let me clear my throat.
You can find me.
Colin is the Ed Lover of this podcast.
I'll take that. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. He doesn't want to be
that might be the most, that's probably the nicest compliment I've ever received in my life. I love that. But yeah, you can find me Tuesdays doing Meng on Meng. Thursdays, we're doing Scoopy Boys. I think this Thursday, we're doing Nashy Boys.
Yeah, Super Spike.
Ooh.
Super Spike and Nashy Boys. Gird your loins.
Be there, Spike.
Gird your loins.
And
Also, we're still
us-
trying to come up with a new name. So if anybody has ideas.
we'll figure that out. Yeah. Otherwise, yeah, you can find me doing Star Wars. I think we're next month, right?
Good question. This is next month. I'm just trying to find the
Okay.
date. Star Wars is March 11th.
Okie doke. March 11th, you'll find me doing some Star Wars. Spoop Troop.
Boring.
There's some legs there.
Yeah, people really like Spoop Troop, but
Also, yeah, Sundays every so often you can find me here, in and out. So yeah, that's me, everybody. Also, if you're gaming, look for Creepin' Colin. I might be around doing stuff.
yeah, I'm here as well. It's hard for me to operate a calendar today, apparently. 28th Wellness Wednesday, 29th. It's previously also known as Spoopy Boys, maybe Spoop Troop. It's an Ashy Boys episode. Get ready. Bring your popcorn.
Is it the Horror Rises from the Tomb? I believe is the movie.
Yes, it is Horror Rises from the Tomb.
Oh.
Paul Naschy not playing a werewolf in this one.
I don't know if I can handle it.
Surprise, surprise. I mean,
How's he going to get that shirt off?
Oh, he'll get that shirt off.
He better.
Paul Naschy is going to show off that hairy bod. If any way
Ghost of
possible.
Paul Naschy, you better be getting that shirt off, buddy.
I mean, even if it's just a deep V, because some of those shirts
I'll
he wears
settle
are
for a
like
deep V
the
down to the
deepest
navel.
of V's. Like, yeah, it's like, hey, I buttoned the shirt. Where'd you button it? At the navel. Paul Naschy doesn't have a treasure trail. He has a 4-lane highway. And then Friday about it games. I think it's probably going to be. I don't know who's going to do it. If it's not the lethalist of companies, I might do something. I don't know. I know Cassandra was supposed to be gone that day, but maybe she won't be. I don't know. I don't know anymore. I don't know why I have like pseudo Ed Grimley hair today.
Oh, I like it. I must say.
Yeah.
I must say. Yeah. So thanks for everybody
Well, if you
for
feel
hanging.
like doing any PZ or maybe even V Rising for Bad at Games, I'll
Yeah.
dip my toes in those waters for the first time finally.
I don't know. Depends how I feel.
Totally.
I'm in a weird mental funk. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought I woke up and I thought today was Monday, and I was very much like,
Oh, that would have. Yeah, that's gonna throw you off completely, and just put you in a. Ugh.
work has made me very unhappy the last 10 days. So
Oh,
I'm
man,
sorry,
I'm
bud.
sorry.
just Friday I did a half day after I had the meeting that I chair that I don't want to chair it anymore. So and after it was over, it ended around noon, and I was just like, I'm taking the rest of the day off. I don't feel well. I didn't wait for a response. I just took it off. Fuck you. Right now I want to quit. So but anyway, which no one likes a frustrated me, especially not me.
I hope things improve one way or another.
Yeah.
Which also, you know what really sucks? I don't want to get into this too much, but now I'm just venting.
Go for it.
When I feel bad, like I do two things. Three things. I isolate, I just lie in bed, and I eat.
Mhm.
And I've eaten a lot the last 2 days.
Mhm.
And I hate that. Because I'll eat and I'll be like, I found myself yesterday just eating, and I was full, and eating more made me feel bad, but I was like, I don't care.
Mhm. Yeah, dude, I totally know what that's like. Yeah.
Don't care.
Like the other
Just
day.
give me that sweet serotonin, please.
Yeah. Like we have this little bag of little tiny pepperonis, and I'm just sitting there. I'm like, I'm not even enjoying this. But
Yeah.
It's filling a hole. So-
And not my stomach. It's just filling an emotional
Yeah.
hole.
no, my stomach is full and I'm ready to burst, but there's a deeper
There's a
gaping
deeper hole that
inside
it's
of me
trying to
that
fill.
is-
It,
These pepperonis are filling.
and I
Thank
just-
you, Hormel.
At the same time, I saw a McElroy shit talking post that was chicken soup for the whole, and it was someone just dumping a like a giant pot of chicken soup into a hole. And I was like, "This is amazing. This is how I feel right now. This is a microcosm of my entire life at this moment." So yeah. Anyway,
That's
yeah, I don't. Anyway, you didn't come here for this, and I'm not going to give it to you. If you want someone to give it to you, go find X because he'll give it to you. He'll deliver it to you. I just don't have it today.
Yeah.
Anyway, I hope everyone has a good rest of their Sundays. I hope you get through the first part of your week successfully and without incident. I don't know what that means. But be good. Show your best self to other people and care for them. And we'll see you when we see you. Bye.
Thanks.
Sorry about the pepperoni spike.
Oh, hell no. You don't apologize for that. You did not apologize for that pepperoni. No one should
happened.
no one ever apologize.